March. A great month for the world of sports, or specifically basketball. The NBA regular season is drawing to a close with teams either clinching or being eliminated from the possibility of making the playoffs, and obviously the men's and women's Division I college tournaments, also known as March Madness.
Page off balance, puts it up for the championship. And it goes for the win. Listen, half-court heat for the win. Jesperson knows it. Northern Iowa wins it at the buzzer.
It's a good time. Everyone makes their brackets, friends come together to watch the games, but something has changed in recent years. March Madness has become a financial opportunity.
Dude, these are the only three picks.
I have a lock of the debut in the Tennessee Houston.
All right, these are the only two college basketball picks you're going to need today for this Michigan State versus Auburn.
This pick on Sunday between Houston and Tennessee is going to cash.
And I do have your lock of the day.
I just cooked up this two-leg March Madness parlay for Sunday that is almost guaranteed to cash us out for over $1,000.
Enter the sports betting world, a once very niche corner of the plane of ways to gamble your money that has now become the most popular way to do so. You see, why would you bet your savings on a few playing cards that you can't even see when you could put it all on your favorite sports team that you just know is going to win it all? Over the past decade, as sports betting has become legalized in more and more states, more and more people have been drawn in, and more sports betting apps are trying to make it as easy and seamless as possible for said people to 1. Choose their app through promotions. Hey, we just got legalized. We'll give you $200 to bet with. 2. Easily deposit money and make specific bets through promotions. Oh, Stephen A. said to pick this parlay? Let's freaking do it, man. And 3. Keep them around with promotions. Oh, you lost? Don't worry. We'll give you some money back if you lose, but you can only keep it if you bet it and win it again. Now you might be thinking, well, I don't really pay attention to commercials and all that. I'm just on my phone the whole time. And to that I say, do you not pay attention to the game either? I mean, just look around. The pregame show, the pop-ups in the middle of the game, even the court they're playing on. It's everywhere, and regardless of whether you want to or not, you're taking note of what they're trying to tell you. And when you see people you're fond of, like Charles Barkley, telling you to bet on this or that, or these commercials that look like this.
He's got an NFL offer.
Don't play with me.
I think I'm going to take it.
Aren't you a little too old to be playing football?
Or this.
If you finish first, you could win $1 million.
Or this.
We need a king, Steve.
Give it a king, Steve.
It's kind of hard to remember that gambling actually isn't all that great. About 10 million Americans suffer from some type of gambling problem. And on top of that, out of people with a, quote, pathological gambling problem, around 1 in 5 of them attempt suicide. Yeah. Since the ban on sports betting in America was overturned by the Supreme Court in 2018, states who have legalized sports betting have seen a massive increase in bankruptcy filings. And in total, Americans have wagered over $450 billion. That's about 6 months' rent in Boone. So yes, ball don't lie. Sports betting is definitely a net negative. But how did it get so bad? Or, I guess, successful? We're going to take a look deeper into what I mentioned earlier. The promotions, the commercials, the microphones being used by the commentators. You know, how it's represented in the media. And perhaps how it's represented in the media compared to other addictive practices. When was the last time you saw a commercial for cigarettes on TV? Go on, you can think for a second. If you're below the age of 55, the answer is never, because cigarette commercials were banned on January 2nd, 1971. How about a Zyn commercial? Views, Juul, whatever this thing is? While these nicotine products aren't specifically banned from television the same way cigarettes are, networks just don't pick them up, so you never see commercials for them. Beer? Liquor? Now that's a different story. You probably saw an alcohol ad today. So cigarettes and vaping are bad. You know, I can get down with that. But why is alcohol and pissing away your life savings on Russian ping pong any better? This is where we hit up the First Amendment, specifically the part of the First Amendment that talks about commercial speech, and more specifically than that, the Central Hudson test. During a New York energy crisis in 1980, the New York government was basically like, yo, stop using electricity. Also, electric companies, you need to stop making ads encouraging people to use more electricity. So Central Hudson Gas and Electric Corporation was like, that's bullshit. We should be allowed to do that. And basically, long story short, the Supreme Court was like, yeah, sorry, New York government, you can't do that. and as a result of that, established a test that determines when the government can regulate commercial speech, which goes like this. 1. Does the speech at issue concern lawful activity, and is it not misleading? 2. Is the asserted government interest substantial, and if so, 3. Will the regulation directly advance government interest asserted, and 4. Is it not more extensive than is necessary to serve that interest? Now, that's a lot of confusing words. Basically, if the ad is about something illegal or spreading misinformation, there's no need for the rest of the test. The government can ban it, regulate it, or do whatever they want with it. If it is legal and doesn't lie to people, does the government have a valid reason to regulate it? If they do have a reason, why would the regulation in question actually work? And finally, is it going too overboard on the regulating? The goal is to try and only limit as much speech as necessary, so if the government's going too hard in the paint, they need to calm down. So let's say the government wants to ban all sports betting advertisements. We'll put it through this test. 1. Is the ad legal and misleading? Honestly, inherently no. 2. Does the government have a good reason to regulate it? Yes, because sports gambling ruins lives, and the government doesn't like that. 3. Does the rule help the government stop gambling? Not really, because people are still going to seek out gambling regardless of what the commercials tell them. So it fails the test, and it can't be regulated, or the government can't do that. So now that we've established why sports gambling commercials can be broadcasted, what makes it different from, say, vaping ads? The simple answer is just that it's more socially accepted. Now you're probably thinking, really? Is that it? And the answer is yes. Vaping ads and even condom ads are some of the more bad looks for networks, and since sports gambling is so popular and widely considered by society as not that bad, they'll certainly take the millions of dollars being thrown at them by these sports betting whale companies. So, as people, how do we navigate this insane field of sports betting promotions and ads everywhere? We have to be conscious about what we're being fed and realize when or if it's starting to work a little too well. Let's take a look at this FanDuel commercial, for example.
I love betting on the NBA with FanDuel.
Boom. First thing said. Charles Barkley loves betting on the NBA with FanDuel. I mean, if he likes it, I'd probably like it, right?
Especially when I've got the world's greatest basketball mind on my side. What's up, Chuck GPT?
Chuck GPT. Dipping our toes into the world of comedy now, are we? Not only is this a funny joke, but it establishes relatability with the audience. I know what ChatGPT is. Hell, I just used it 30 seconds ago. This allows the viewer to feel included, and therefore makes the ad more personable, because maybe not everybody else gets the joke, but you do.
What's up, Chuck IRL? What do you think about this parlay?
It's great, but why don't you use me for something you really need help with?
What does Charles Barkley really need help with?
Hundreds of results found.
Uh-oh.
Fashion sense, basic math.
What?
Being on time, portion control, conflict resolution.
This next part just expands on both the comedy and the relatability. The Charles Barkley Alexa bobblehead thing starts making fun of him very similarly to the way his co-hosts would on Inside the NBA. This, again, is utilizing the viewer's relationship with Chuck. Ooh, I get it. I watch Inside the NBA. Chuck's always late and bad at math. Shaq would totally say that about him.
Enunciating, free throw percentage.
Okay, I can't lie. That joke was actually pretty funny, and I did give one of those exhale out of the nose a little bit kind of laughs.
New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if you win.
Now we're presented with the numbers. I mean, hey, if I only bet $5, I can win $150 back. That's a steal, right? I mean, yes, on paper, that's a good deal. But these marketing strategies are beautifully manipulative. On one hand, if you win your $5 bet and get the $150, hooray. Now you have $150 to play with in the sports betting world, and when you run out of that, you're going to want to use more. If you lose the bet, shit, you got to try again. And the rest is history. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't gamble at all. I personally gamble once in a while for, if my favorite team is playing. But what's important is to recognize the marketing schemes looming over your head and not allow yourself to get swallowed into the void. That $5 for $150 example from the Chuck GPT commercial is just one example of hundreds being offered by all these apps. And not realizing the tricks they're trying to pull on you could leave you addicted to sports gambling without you even realizing it. Now, to conclude this video, why do celebrities even do these ads? Don't they know it's morally shady, and do they feel bad about it? I have with me today Formula One, TikTok, and YouTube sensation Average F1 Consumer, here to talk about his recent deal with racing-centered sports gambling app Grid Rival. Yeah, it's me. And I'm not really a sensation, I'm just kind of a lazy sack of shit. And this bit was so stupid. But in all seriousness, yes, in the midst of working on this project for school, I got an opportunity to work with this app. A bit oxymoronic, I'd say. Now, obviously, I'm not seeing Charles Barkley level of cash flow here, but I can say that these gambling apps pay pretty well, and that's 100% the entire reasoning behind them bagging these people like, Kevin Hart, Charles Barkley, all those people for their commercials. Does it make these celebrities feel a little shitty? I can't say on their behalf, but it kind of does for me. However, the financial benefits are just too tempting. And I'm sure there's many people out there who have done gambling ads who feel the same way as me. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to compare myself to celebrities or gloat about myself, but I just thought it would be interesting to mention because the timing of it all was very ironic to me. That's about it, though. Basically, just remember to step outside of yourself as a consumer every once in a while and look at these marketing tactics at face value, and you might be surprised with what you'd find. And don't bet on the Browns. They suck.